It is my absolute pleasure to be joined today by author Angela Damron. She is the author of the newly released book, Remembering Her, The Other Side of Alzheimer's Dementia. And so, Angela, tell us about this book.
Well, my family's been a caregiver of the elderly for 36 years. And we've always been told that we ought to write a book about what we do because we do it in our home. My ladies live with me. Mama started that 36 years ago. And so last year, I've always had a way with words, but as far as sitting down and writing anything, I was too busy with the business, with taking care of the ladies. Last year, I went through about 3 months of having no one to take care of. It was incredibly difficult for me because I'm a caregiver. That's what I do. But I understood that God was putting my heart to write. And so Remembering Her is it's a look into the lives of the family members that are dealing with their loved ones having the disease. There's a lot out there that talks about what the disease is going to do to the person and how to be a caregiver for them. But honestly, there's nothing out there that tells a daughter what they're going to feel when their mother don't remember them. My mother had Parkinson's, and it has its own dementia. If I ever forget everything in my life, I'll never forget the day she didn't know who I was. It's from the perspective of I interviewed sons, daughters, granddaughters, siblings. I ghost wrote 2 spouses' stories from the couples that we had taken care of through the years. These are all people that I've taken care of their mother. I believe that that's why it was so open and raw. We had already built up a trust, a friendship. So they knew that whatever they told me, I probably had already heard from them before. And, honestly, I thought taking care of these ladies as close as we do, I could empathize and understand what it was like for these families. But until it happens to you, you just don't know. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to get something out there that other people that are going through it could read about and understand that you're not alone. We all get frustrated. We all get resentful. When my mother got real bad in her dementia, she took up every single bit of my energy, mentally, physically, emotionally. That left very little time for my husband and my children. Left very little time for my other ladies, my business, my job. A lot of times we feel so isolated, and I think we do that to ourselves out of fear, guilt. It's kind of hard to explain to someone that, your mother called you 42 times in the middle of the night, for the same thing. I said things, honestly, to my mother that I would have never said at all. I mean, she was the one person I respectfully feared the most in my life. But when your day is about 25 hours long and you've already went through the same conversation about 15 times, it can get frustrating. So our goal was to kind of give these families of the Alzheimer's patients and dementia patients an inside look to, hey, we've been there. We've done that. We've done things that I never thought I'd clean bowel movement off my mother. I just, but we make it through it.
I think this is such a powerful book. And my mother actually just recently lost her father to that as well. And I remember the time, and I know it's not I haven't lost my mom to that, but I remember the time that my grandpa introduced himself to me.
Yeah.
And it was that was a moment for me. And, and that's not my mom, but it's still someone, that you care about. But I remember even that. and I can't imagine going through it with my own mother, right? And so, but I watched my mom go through it. So I think you've written a very powerful book that affects so many people. It's so real to so many people. It's not, no one can understand it until they watch someone go through it. And so I think it's incredible you've written this book. And we've already talked about it a little bit, but I'd like to hear a little bit more about what was the actual, like, that inspiration point for you for writing this book, where you said, you know what, I am going to publish this book, I'm going to write this book and publish it? What was that main point of inspiration that drove you?
God.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that there were so many of us out there. There's 7 million people in America alone that's got Alzheimer's, and we're not even the ones with the highest rate. So this is a global, worldwide thing that's happening. And so many, like I said, so many of us feel so alone in our journey on it, because people don't understand. Our friends don't understand. Like you said, it was your grandfather. So you weren't there on the day-to-day when he doesn't know his own daughter. Sadly, some of the men actually come on to their family members, and that's hard for people to grasp and to understand. I know there was a lot of times I was asked, is your mom any better? And I want to look at them and go, are you insane? She's not going to get better, So what my hope was, not only for the family members, but for our friends, I think that we have some really good friends that really want to help us. They don't understand it. And so if they could have a chance to actually read real stories, then maybe they could understand that, give me an hour to go, and take a bath, that I don't have to worry about my mother getting up and falling or going outside, or, give me 10 minutes, to sit outside and breathe, that I don't have to worry. So God saw a need. And like I said, I've always had a way with words. Mama used to say I could make a homeless man look like presidential material. But until he took the everyday physical caregiving away, I would never focus on it. So I believe that I'm still doing caregiving. I'm still doing our ministry of helping families get through this disease. So
I think it's incredible. It is obviously a ministry for you, obviously. And it's something that, so many people, you're right, so many people didn't know about, and until it enters your home in some way, you don't know, right? And you said that about, like, can I have just 10 minutes to not be able to worry? And I listened to my mom and my aunts say that, I've heard them say those things. And so I think it's such a powerful message for you to share, because you're right, people feel alone because they don't understand it. Their loved one is not really there anymore. And so they don't understand that. And so is there anything else you'd like to share with us today about you, your book, or this incredible message within the book?
I believe that so many people out there need help with this. They need to know the resources with this. I didn't want it to be clinical. I didn't want, there to be a whole lot of medical information. I mean, you can research that everywhere. I wanted it to be real. I wanted it to be just raw and open. I believe from the time my mother started this in 1987 that this was where it would end up at. But until I went with it with her, I would have never been able to write this book. I'm excited that there's more books to come. We're doing some on men, because it's a whole different dynamic when it's your daddy. We're also doing from caregivers' point of view. My sister and I will collaborate on one. Just through the years, different ladies, different family members, some funny, one thing I heard about my book was I cried and then 2 seconds later I'm laughing, and I want people to know that it's okay to laugh. I'm not making fun of your love.
Of course.
If you don't laugh, it'll drag you down. You know, one of the most interesting stories in there, honestly, and mine is in there, was from a wife. You know, she had to take on her husband taking care of her mother-in-law. No one thinks about the in-laws that get dragged into this. You know, many of them can't handle it. There's a lot of divorce, a lot of pressure. Sadly, a lot of people feel so much guilt about putting their loved ones in a facility. Alzheimer's is a big money market because of the fact that a lot of us can't take care of our own moms. In my book, I tell them I did it for 3 years and the lines got very blurred. Thankfully, my sister does the same thing, and I could kind of tag out and tag her in. So I just pray that it brings hope to people and peace, maybe forgiveness. That's one of the hardest things for us, is we're not able to ask forgiveness because they don't know what they've done. So
I get it. Yeah. And I think it's incredible. And I think it's always important for caregivers to remember that caregivers need care too,
yeah,
and they need a break, and and so I think it's an incredible book. We want to let everyone know that this book is available everywhere online books are sold. It's available on Amazon, Apple Books, Reader House, online at Barnes and Noble. Anyone who has dealt with a family member with Alzheimer's or dementia, or they're about to deal with it, or they've just found out that someone was diagnosed with that, pick up this book and find hope, and and just know that you're not alone. And so, Angela, thank you so much. This is obviously a ministry for you, and I'm excited to see what's coming ahead for you, and I think your heart behind this is incredible. So thank you so much for taking the time today to talk to me.
Thank you.